As we know, Special Forces soldiers are troops consisting of selected people, where they are all trained and formed in order to carry out missions that cannot be completed by ordinary soldiers. Examples include reconnaissance missions, counter-terrorist missions, and missions to defend the country's security from world-class criminal groups. In addition to rigorous training, Special Forces are usually equipped with highly profile weaponry so that they can do their jobs more effectively and efficiently. This force is known as the Navy SEALs. One day when the troops from the Navy SEALs were practicing a siege mission in the house, suddenly one of the youngest troop members, named A.G. Prescott, accidentally entered the wrong room, until finally he was caught by the enemy group. After completing the exercise, one of his seniors named Billy tried to encourage A.J. He said that they really had to practice very hard so that they could become the best soldiers who were able to complete each of their missions. Billy then told A.J. about one of his friends named Bradley, who was accidentally separated from his group while fighting terrorists in the Middle East, and in the end he failed to save himself, even though he had quite good shooting skills. Hearing that, A.J. said that he would try to be better, so that he would not make any more mistakes. And he also didn't want to experience the same incident as Bradley, because he still had a family waiting for him at home. Meanwhile, somewhere, a policeman received a report from residents about an assault case. Suddenly, he was immediately attacked by several unknown people who seemed to have been infected by a mysterious viral outbreak. Long story short, when AJ returned home, he tried to surprise his wife, Emily, who was sleeping at the time. Then they started talking about what they would do in the future after the baby Emily was born. On the other hand, in the government located in Los Angeles, a reporter named Amanda and her colleague named Dave were seen trying to cover a press conference attended by the vice president. Then, while the event was in progress, one of the guards saw someone wandering around the building. As a result, he tried to check it out, but for some reason he couldn't find the person. Shortly thereafter, when the press conference was over and the vice president and his men went to leave the building, suddenly one of the men tried to attack the local residents. That made the guards tell the vice president to go back into the building. That's because they thought that they were being attacked by a group of criminals. Meanwhile, while AJ was with his wife, he suddenly got a call from his superiors, telling him to immediately gather at headquarters. That's because they had a new mission that was an emergency, and they had to complete it immediately. At headquarters, the commander told all members of the Navy SEALs Special Forces that they received a secret call from the vice president, who said that they were trapped in one of the government buildings in Los Angeles. In the report, the vice president said that they had contacted the police and FBI, who were nearby. But for some reason they didn't come, so they thought that there was a clash outside the building. Since the person who had to be saved was the vice president, the commander asked members of the Navy SEALs Special Forces to carry out an infiltration mission by jumping through an airplane. Then, after entering the building, they had to take out the vice president and secure him to the pickup point located at a stadium. After finishing discussing the mission, AJ immediately called his wife and said that he was not sent to the battlefield, but would only carry out a rescue mission. But Emily was still worried, so she told AJ to be careful. Without lingering, AJ and the other Navy SEALs immediately prepared their equipment, ranging from weapons, ammunition, bulletproof vests, to their communication equipment. Then, after everything was ready, they rushed to Los Angeles using an Air Force plane. Meanwhile, inside the headquarters, the commander received a call from a secret agent named Stacy Thomas, who said that she had important information, so she wanted to meet directly with the commander. But unfortunately, the commander does not allow it because he is currently busy supervising his men. Shortly after, the Special Forces finally arrived in Los Angeles, and without lingering, they immediately jumped using parachutes until they managed to land safely around the building where the vice president was. After making sure the situation was safe, they tried to enter the building. But for some reason, they couldn't find anyone there. This made them think that the vice president had left. Even so, they still checked the entire room, and when they entered the CCTV room, it turned out that they could find the vice president, who was hiding with the guards who tried to protect him. While the captain of the troops was calling for help at headquarters, Billy tried to ask the vice president about what was really going on there, But the vice president also had no idea why the civilians had suddenly turned strange and attacked them. Billy then tried to check on the condition of someone who had previously been bitten by one of the residents, and it seems that Billy looks confused. How can the civilians attack so brutally, causing fatal injuries, even though they did not carry weapons at all? One of the guards warned the captain that they should be careful of attacks from the citizens. That's because for some reason, the citizens have now turned into monsters who can attack them for no reason. The guards even shot at the people who tried to attack them. But it was in vain, because the residents still attacked very brutally, even though they had been shot at several times. Hearing this, the captain told AJ and one of his men to check the surroundings. That was because soon they had to immediately evacuate the vice president to the pickup point. While they were waiting for information from the others, Amanda told the captain that there seemed to be something strange going on with the villagers who were trying to attack them. And Dave had recorded several instances when the villagers acted strangely, not like normal humans. In addition, Amanda had also seen that the residents attacked by biting, and the people who were bitten suddenly began to act strangely, then attacked other people. Shortly thereafter, the man who was previously injured by the attack of the citizens suddenly began to attack one of the special forces. That made the captain try to stop him, but because the man was getting brutal, one of the guards finally shot the man to death. The guard tried to convince the special forces that the people who had been bitten were able to withstand the bullets that were aimed at their bodies, so they had to shoot him in the head to stop him. After seeing this very strange incident, the captain tried to contact the commander and told him about what happened there. Then Stacy told the commander that the people were no longer human, but they had turned into zombies. The change was a result of being exposed to a virus outbreak originating from biological weapons. Even so, Stacy said that one of her team, consisting of scientists, was not far from the Los Angeles government building. This made Stacy ask the commander to evacuate the scientists, because they were the key to stopping the spread of the zombie virus outbreak. Hearing Stacy's words, without lingering, the commander also gave new orders to the captain, that after they managed to evacuate the vice president, they had to survive the zombie attack. This was to get to a laboratory, where they had to evacuate all the scientists there, along with all the research they had. The captain told everyone to hurry up. That's because soon their pickup will arrive. For some reason, one of the women, who was the vice president's subordinate, suddenly looked very weak, but the woman said that she was just tired. Without realizing it, it turned out that the woman had been bitten by a zombie, and she tried to hide her wound because she was afraid that the soldiers would shoot her if she didn't lie. Meanwhile, outside the building, AJ saw several zombies chasing two civilians, so AJ asked that he be allowed to shoot, but unfortunately, the captain refused AJ's request, so the zombies eventually preyed on the two people. On the other hand, Stacy asked the commander to give new orders to the soldiers there to isolate the entire city of Los Angeles. That's because if the zombie outbreak spreads to other cities, then they will find it difficult to stop the spread of the zombie outbreak. Hearing this, without lingering, the commander immediately communicated with other soldiers to immediately isolate the entire city of Los Angeles, and not forgetting to instruct closing all access around the city. Meanwhile, when one of the special forces named Travis was checking the situation around the building, suddenly several zombies came and attacked him. As a result, Billy and the others came to help Travis fight the zombies. But unfortunately, they were too late. That's because Travis has lost a lot of blood, and in the end he died. Inside the building, I don't know where it came from, suddenly one of the zombies appeared and immediately attacked them. It made the captain almost bitten by the zombie, but fortunately AJ and the others arrived on time, and they could defeat the zombie by shooting him in the head. After the incident, headquarters said that the pickup helicopter was almost at their location, and the captain immediately ordered his men to take the vice president to the pickup spot. In the midst of the chaos, Amanda somehow had a very crazy idea. She asked Dave to stay there and record all the events in the city of Los Angeles. That's because this recording could become world-shaking news about the zombie virus outbreak that could destroy human civilization. At first, Dave did not agree, because he still worries his life, But because he could not just leave Amanda, he decided to stay and help Amanda, even though himself felt very scared. Then when the special forces finished protected the vice president and his men into the helicopter, they immediately took positions to stop the zombie attack, which began to arrive due to the sound of the helicopter. But unfortunately, one of the vice president's subordinates, who was previously bitten, suddenly began to turn into a zombie, until finally she attacked everyone in the helicopter, causing the helicopter to fall. Seeing the incident, the commander told the captain to immediately carry out their second mission, which was to evacuate the people in the laboratory located nearby. That's because he wanted to stop the terrible zombie outbreak immediately. Without wasting any time, the captain told his men that they had to carry out their second mission immediately, and they had to be even more careful. That's because the enemy they were fighting right now was far more terrifying than the enemy on the battlefield. Carefully, AJ and the special forces, along with Amanda and Dave, immediately moved through the small residential alleys around there, while stopping the attack of the zombies. But with so many zombies, AJ, Amanda, and Dave were separated from Billy and the other special forces. Then when AJ and the others were hiding in one of the houses, they were suddenly ambushed by a man who tried to point a shotgun at them. That's because he thought that AJ and the others were one of the zombies. Seeing that the man was very scared and wanted to shoot him, AJ decided to take the man's gun by force. But in the end, he returned the gun while saying that he was not a zombie. On the other hand, when the captain realized that they had lost contact with AJ, they decided to continue their mission and drive a car. They finally managed to arrive at the CIA's laboratory. After exploring the laboratory, the captain and the others finally could find the location of one of the guards who managed to survive the zombie attack. That he told them that the laboratory was somewhere, which was now being swarmed by lots of zombies. Meanwhile, when AJ and the others tried to continue their journey by walking, without realizing it, suddenly one of the zombies who was driving a car came towards them. But luckily AJ could throw a Geronet at the car on time. The sound of the explosion made the zombies start approaching them, so AJ and the others were forced to hide in one of the alleys while waiting for things to become safe. Because AJ only had a little ammunition left, it made him unable to carelessly fight the zombies. Without realizing it, suddenly one of the zombies came from behind and immediately bit AJ's hand, so they tried to stop it by tying the zombie. Although AJ was injured, he said that they still had to continue their journey so that they could immediately gather with Billy and the others. But unfortunately, it was not easy, because there were a lot of zombies out there roaming in the middle of the precarious situation. AJ tried to contact his wife, Emily, and told her to contact headquarters that he was currently in a separate place from the captain. And had also requested that headquarters would help him finish off some of the zombies around there. So without lingering, the commander ordered several bombers to clear several places around AJ's travel path. After making sure the situation was safe, AJ and the others continued their journey. But without realizing it, Dave was attacked by one of the zombies, so he was seriously injured. However, AJ and Amanda could not do anything because Dave could no longer be helped. On the other hand, the captain and the other troops finally arrived at the laboratory door, and they immediately finished off all the zombies there. Until finally, they couldn't find one of the scientists who was researching the zombie virus outbreak. The captain then told them to immediately go to the roof of the building to wait for the pickup helicopter. But Billy got information that AJ had survived, and he was now in the parking lot, so Billy decided to pick AJ up first. Long story short, while the captain and the others were moving to the roof of the building, Billy finally managed to AJ and Amanda location. And he immediately brought them both in because the captain and the others were waiting for them. AJ and the others then tried to defeat the zombies who tried to attack them. But unfortunately, Billy was accidentally bitten by one of the zombies. That made him decide to hold back the zombies and tell AJ to go to the roof first. Shortly after that, AJ and Amanda finally arrived at the roof and met the captain and the others. But unfortunately, Billy was trapped in one of the rooms, and he was now being surrounded by a lot of zombies. Hearing this, AJ initially planned to help Billy because he was his best friend. But the captain refused AJ's request, because Billy had been bitten by a zombie. And because he didn't want any more victims, the captain finally decided to tell all his men to get on the helicopter so they could get out of there immediately. Before AJ and the others left, Billy had time to say goodbye to them. And not long after, the bombers immediately bombarded the entire city, including the building where Billy was. Long story short, after the events that occurred in Los Angeles, Stacy said that his party had conducted experiments on AJ, who had previously been bitten by the zombie. And when they realized that AJ was immune to the virus, they finally managed to create a vaccine that could stop the spread of the zombie virus outbreak. Stacy then thanked Billy for sacrificing his life to save AJ, because if AJ doesn't survive the siege of zombies in Los Angeles, then they will never be able to find the vaccine. On the other hand, when AJ returns home, Emily looks very happy because she can finally meet her husband again, and they are now getting ready to wait for the birth of their first child. Along with AJ's family's happiness, the movie ended.